Shalom, my name is Meir Fachler, CEO of Gemara Berura and team leader of the Core Standards for Teaching Mishna document. Join me in discovering together how to study Mishnah according to the Core Standards document and with the help of the Gemara Bua digital learning environment. The Core Standards document lists a total of 6 standards: Toshba Essentials, Content, Concepts, Vocabulary, Reading and Pronunciation, Craft and Structure, Understanding and Interpretation, and Values and Relevance. The goal of the standards is to enable Mishnah students to learn Mishnah independently. All of the standards are critical, but one mustn't ignore any of them. But, as the standards document states, Standard 4, Craft and Structure, is the most important of all. Why is that? Let's divide Mishnah study into 2. Each Mishnah has its own unique content. The content changes from one Mishnah to the next and constitutes what the Mishnah says. On the other hand, the style, approach and methodology used by the Mishnah in order to present the contents of the Mishnah, that is what the Mishnah does and is common to all Mishnayot. What Mishnah does is that it presents the contents according to the Komdat key. Komdat, which is an acronym for words Koteret, title, Omer, author, Mikre, case, Din, ruling, and Ta'am, reason. Let us explain. Every halachic Mishnah has a case and ruling, Mikre and Din. In fact, every code of case law in the entire world is made up of case and law, or ruling. Usually the Mishnah uses defined Din words that help us identify the part of the Mishnah as Din, as we shall soon see. Theoretically, all of the Mishnayot could have been a continuous series of Mikre and Din, but when Rav Yehuda Nasi compiled the Mishnah, he decided to include other opinions, those that disagreed and those that did not. Therefore, many Mishnayot include the Omer classification. Sometimes the Mishnah also brings the Ta'am, meaning the reason, justification, or the source of the Din that appears in the Mishnah. And sometimes the Mishnah begins with a koteret, title, which describes the topic of the Mishnah. In order to identify the komdat structure of the Mishnah, Chazal used keywords to indicate the komdat role each element of the Mishnah plays. As we can see, the most significant list of komdat keywords are the din words. Likewise, every time we identify a name of a rabbi or rabbis, you can determine that this section is classified as Omer, and so on. Anyone who studies or teaches Mishnah is aware that one of the most pressing of challenges in learning Mishnah is that the Mishnah is usually not structured in a linear sequence or progression. On the contrary, it is usually presented in a very non-linear manner. Thus, now that we have understood the Komdat principle, we can now present the primary and basic skill for identifying the nonlinear structure of any Mishnah. This skill has another word that is made up of an acronym, DCC, divide, classify, connect. Firstly, with the help of the Komdat keyword hints, Mishnah can be divided into Komdat units. The next step is to classify each of the divided units into one of the 5 Komdat classifications that describe the unit's role within the Mishnah. Then we need to connect the divided and classified units in order to obtain a visual representation of the Mishnah's Komdat structure. Let us see what it looks like when applying the DCC process using Gemara Berura. Let's begin with the first stage, divide. Let's take, for example, the first Mishnah of Masechet Sukkah, where, for the purpose of illustration, I have highlighted the Din and Omer keywords to help us in the task of dividing the Mishnah. Here we can see the Mishnah is divided into units according to the keywords and a few other hints in straight alignment. Now we will move on to the next stage of the DCC process, classify. And this is how it looks after all the units have been classified according to the Komdat key. Note that each unit is color-coded and has its own letter icon to define its own unique classification. And now to the last stage, connect. Once we have linked all the classified units according to context, we can clearly see on the right side the text of the Mishnah that reflects the connections between the classified units. whereby each tab to the left reflects a level of connection. And on the left, you can see the structure of the Mishnah as it is reflected in the flowchart. For example, we can see that this Mishnah has 5 cases in which there is a dispute between the din between Rav Yehuda and the Tana Kama. In the latter case, there is a dispute between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, with the continuation of the Mishnah analyzing the true extent of the distance between the two disputing sides. As we can see, the flowchart reflects the non-linear but clear structure of the Mishnah. In addition, at the click of a button, we receive the DCC in the form of a table that arranges the Mishnah according to the Komdat columns. This table can, of course, be the basis of a worksheet with assignments such as filling empty cells, such as the empty column of Tam, and so forth. In summary, Gemara Berura allows teachers and students alike to figure out and internalize the DCC process according to Komdat, which is the underlying skill required by the Core Standards document. Our experience teaches us that integrating the use of Gemara Bua in our Mishnah classes creates a simplifying, refreshing, empowering, and enjoyable dimension to Mishnah teaching. Thank you for joining me. All of us at Gemara Bua wish you a satisfying Gemara Bua experience. Check out our tutorial videos on our website and our YouTube channel.